Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world.
I've been looking around for salvation. I've been looking around for the truth. All around me I see frustration, and I looked all over till I found you. I sit and listen to your stories, and you're telling me, please don't worry. So lot in this world you should know, and love in life is where you should go. If you're looking for somewhere to go, if you're looking for someone to know, if you're looking for someone to guide you, then love in life will guide you.
Goeienaand, good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world, and welcome to tonight's live stream. This morning I had a live stream covering Edward and Jarrett's walk of faith from Moy River to Escort. I inquired if anyone at Ladysmith could help the walkers with accommodation at Ladysmith. Viking put his hand up and wrote tonight to me, "Edward phoned me. We have so much in common. We will speak the whole night. He is an ex-Muslim. It is by the grace of God that I landed this morning on that short stream which you had earlier. The Loving Life magic is kicking in all over South Africa. God is in control, and we must just obey when he speaks to us through his Holy Spirit. I can't believe that this is happening, but if you pray for something, you should not be surprised that it will happen. I feel so blessed, and it is all because of you, Scott. Keep well, Viking. And yes, God is working with us, believe me." While talking about doing good, have a look at how the ultra-rich and infamous pat themselves on their collective backs for good deeds, and I'm sure you will recognize some of the names on there. Let me tell you what this is all about. This is the Andrew Carnegie Medal of Philanthropy in 2001, and it had some very interesting winners. I'm sure you'll see what I mean, including Bill Gates Sr., George Soros, Bill Moyers, David Rockefeller. Yeah, I think you're getting the message. Now, let's move on. Sadly, this video, which I'm going to show you now, reflects what happened in Durban earlier today. It reflects how society in South Africa has completely deteriorated. Let me get that up for you.
How it is. How it is. Oh my God. Oh Jesus Christ. Jesus. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Oh. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Okay, that happened in Durban earlier today. This is what's going on in this sick ANC society. It's absolutely disgusting. Finally, A certain snowflake has complained about last night's live stream exposing the Democratic Alliance. You know who I'm talking about? Well, YouTube let me know. The suggestion is that I am doxing her. The truth is we are exposing her, and she does not like it. Just to be on the safe side, I will ask Rudy to put the copy I have made onto lovinglivetv.com. All right, tonight our guest is Winston Coetzee, and we're going to be talking about the communist takeover of South Africa through the corrupt gangster ANC government. I'll get Winston on. And please remember to subscribe to Loving Life here on YouTube, and also to register on lovinglivetv.com to be kept informed. Just for the record, lovinglivetv.com is where Loving Life is transitioning to. We've had enough of the BS coming from YouTube. Okay, that's why we're moving. It's quite a simple outcome. Here we go. Hi, Winston.
How's it, Uncle Scott?
Excellent, thank you. Excellent. Now, are we going to have Ranting Winston on tonight, are we?
No, not so much. Not so much of a rant, but yeah, ranting Winston tonight, not Winston Smile tonight.
Okay. Well, hopefully we'll have Winston Smile on very, very soon. Everybody's asking when you're going to be up and ready to sing for us again. Now,
yeah, I think we've got our thing for next Sunday or Sunday
I
after
think
that,
so. Yeah. We'll keep that as a surprise, but it's coming up. It's coming up.
Yeah.
Now, Winston, in 1994, South Africa was promised to become the Rainbow Nation. Okay, everybody embracing everybody, equality for all this sort of shit, and things have gone horribly pear-shaped since then, haven't they?
Scott, it was all a rouge, all just a slide of the hand, basically. The whole thing is a setup. Everything is just everything that people see today is not actually what it is. It's not.
Yeah, look, that's a very, very interesting observation you make, because that is so on the money. You know, you look at the enforced vaccine that's going on in Israel, and they're actually saying now that the anti-vaxxers, the people who are saying, no, we're not going to get vaccinated, are now being attacked, not physically, but verbally. They're being denigrated in the media in Israel, whereas those who take the vaccine, which hasn't gone through its tests yet, you're crazy to take the vaccine, but apparently about half of Israel has, and those who have are now they're able to go into shows, they're able to go into the bar, they're able to go into shops, they can actually work. But the people who refuse to get the vaccine can't do any of those things.
Yeah, I mean, if you take a look at it, it sounds like pre-94 South Africa as well. If you look at the apartheid years, you know, some people were allowed to do things, other people weren't. So it's all coming back basically to control, manipulation, and of course they will use any means necessary. Now, they can't physically go out and attack people, but there are many other ways that a communist, that's what we're actually going to talk about also later on, I'll explain. That's the other way that a communist can actually hurt a person very, very, very badly, is by taking their rights, taking their needs. You see, they're playing a very careful game, because you can't go physically abuse someone or attacking someone, because, you know, unconstitutionally, and you know, it's very, very bad for a country to do that. But they'll use any other means to hurt you and to make you obey and be obedient.
Right. Now, look, the ANC is actually not just the ANC political party. It's made up of COSATU, the trade union movement, which have an equal say in the running of the country, and the South African Communist Party, who are, in fact, Cyril Ramaphosa comes from that arm of the ANC tripartite. So you've actually got three arms which are running South Africa, and the guy who is actually the president is from the South African Communist Party. Can you tell us what is the role of communism in the parliament in South Africa?
Okay, to understand the role of a communist or the Communist Party in South Africa, you have to understand what it's all made up of. So people think if you talk about a communist, you talk about a person that has got a different opinion to everyone else. When in fact a communist is a person that does not want to see anyone else succeed or do better than they. A communist is like a selfish person that wants everything for themselves. And they will do anything to have that. It's like a spoiled rich kid. That's what a communist actually is. But I'll explain it also a bit later on.
Right.
How it all comes into play. Yes, yeah.
Right. Okay.
So communist in the government is a very, but it's not just a South African locally problem. Communist is actually around the world and in all the governments, and it's a problem because that means that only the government will have all the riches, and the people will have none.
Yeah. I get it. And what's happening in the US right now is very, very frightening because Kamala Harris is clearly maybe not a communist, but she's very much into socialism, which is basically an arm of communism. And if you look at what's hanging around in the wings, you know, with the World Economic Forum saying, and this is Klaus Schwab, who runs the WEF, he's saying, well, by 2030, you will own nothing, but you will be happy. And that's Communism 101. Now, I feel that communism is actually where they bring everyone down to the lowest common denominator. So you're not allowed to succeed. You're not allowed to build a big business. You're not allowed to actually achieve things. You've got to be like one of these little robots that just walks around and listens to what they tell you to do. And I think the best example of that is what's going on in China now. Tell us about China and how that could be like the test case for communism around the world. What they're doing with, you know, the CCTV cameras, how they're able to identify you the whole time, watch what you do. Tell us about that.
Well, if you look at the whole situation in China, what is happening with the people there, they've been conditioned over many years. Remember, they have never actually had a true free democracy per se, if you think about it, because all of their movements and everything they do is being dictated to them.
Right.
Not specifically, if you don't do it, we will punish you, but if you don't do what we say, we will take away some of your rights and we will nudge you into doing what we want. And the only way for the Communist Party, the CC, is to observe people and see what they're doing and see where their weak points are and just they gather information. You know, if you look at today's things, information is actually your biggest commodity on earth now, is information. So the more the Communist Party of the Chinese, the CCP, can have control over the people and monitor the people, the more information they can get by the people, the more they know where the weak points are of the people. And that's their way of keeping the people in control and keeping the people in check and making sure that people know who the bosses are. That's basically what's going on there.
And of course, they've got the social credit system where if you don't do the right thing and you get to a low score, then you're not allowed to fly, you're not allowed to travel, you're not allowed to work, your kids go to the worst schools in the district. Just tell us how that could impact and be expanded around the world.
You know, it's a very bad. I'm trying to say this into terms because when we speak about that, that's the main problem. When we talk about communism, socialism, and all those things, majority of the people don't know or don't want to hear it because it's for them, they don't quite understand what it's all about and how it comes to play. So I'm trying to tonight to say it as plainly as I can and in terms and words that everyone can understand, because you need to understand what the situation is we are sitting in. Now, we spoke about the Chinese people with the CCTVs, and now they've got the point system going on. And if you don't do as the government says, or you're not a very good, obedient peasant, then we will dehumanize you by making sure your kids goes to the worst schools in the world, and making sure that the public that are listening and are obeying can see that you are a naughty little child. And you don't listen to what we're saying. And it's dehumanizing the people, demotivating the people, and causing a divide. That's basically what, if you look at communists, how the whole communist system works, divide and rule. Conquer. So it's their way of dividing the people and causing the people to start fighting with each other and causing the people to start hating each other. Because if you look at China, you know, there's no racial difference there. South Africa, they don't need a point system yet because they've got post-apartheid, they've got white people, black people. They've already got that divide system going where they can divide the people. Now, if you look at China now, they need to find out another system to try and divide the people so the people can start fighting with each other and they can sit back, have all the control and have all the say and pass the blame. Oh, yeah, but those people not taking the injections, they are responsible for all the infections going on. Or you can say, oh, the people that has gotten the injections are the people that has got all the money and got all the jobs now. So now they need to, and all this, the government still stays in control. That is what
everyone is distracted.
Exactly.
Everyone is distracted is basically what you're saying. I totally get that. And, you know, the reason we're talking about China is because that is our children's future. That what is happening right now in China, the way the people are living, it's actually not called communism. It's called democratic, or not democratic. It's called capitalist communism, because the guys at the very top, you know, the Cheapings and all is well connected, rather like the ANC cadres in South Africa, they're doing extremely well. And in fact, it's interesting because Anthony Ma, who owns Alibaba, last year he upset Xi Jinping and his lieutenants, and Ma has actually disappeared. Nobody knows where he's gone. But what has apparently happened is that he was forced to hand over his entire company to this elite group in China, and he's now got nothing. He used to be a multi-billionaire. This is the sort of shit that goes on in a communist country, which brings us to what's happening in South Africa with expropriation without compensation. Now, that is a wolf in sheep's clothing, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Because if you look at what, every time the government comes on and they start talking about expropriation without compensation, they word it so properly to make the people believe that it's only certain farms that they're going to take, and you know, it's not a big deal. No, just you know, farms, unoccupied farms, and they make it sound like not such a big deal. Okay, I'm not talking about Julius Malema, but he's a different clown all on his own.
Right.
I'm talking about what the ANC says to people and making people think that it's not such a big deal, when in fact, if you go and read the bill, the expropriation of compensation bill, it is set up in such a good way that it says any property, any.
Yeah, any.
That word, any. That is a very, it might seem like a small word, but if you put it in terms of law and put it in terms of you trying to get your land back, which if they do want to take your land, you can lay a claim against it. But the ultimate decision lays by who? The people that are in charge now, the Corona Command Council. That's who will make a decision on your property. But the point that I'm trying to make is, if you read the bill, it clearly states that any property. So when this bill is finally through, the whole of South Africa will belong to the governing party, which is the ANC. So majority of the people sitting with big properties and so forth, not paying attention to what's going on, they're thinking it's only for farmlands and whatever, are going to have a massive wake-up call, because as soon as that bill is through, your property is not going to be your property.
Yeah.
Yes, the house you built might be your house, but when that bill is through, the ANC can put rent on that property. If you don't want to move, they'll put rent on it, and you have to pay your rates and taxes and rent on top of it. And they'll make it so any amount, and you eventually you want to just move in anyways. You know, they're going to own the country, all the land. That's what they're going to own.
And when we talk about we're talking about the elite, the Zumas, the Ramaphosas, the Motsepis, these sort of people who are doing very well, including Dlamini Zuma. Now, just two nights ago, I had on Hilton Lyons, who has a business called LSM, which have a patent for building railway wheels or wheels for trains and carriages and coaches and stuff. And the ANC effectively destroyed his business because he refused to give kickbacks and bribes and stuff like that. And they basically destroyed his business as a result. And this is what I talk about, the black privileged. And this is all coming under the mantle of communism, because under communism, if you look what's happening in China, all they're doing is following the Chinese model, where you've got the very wealthy people doing exactly the same in China. And in fact, one of the scary parts about China is that they've actually got these prisons, huge prisons, where all the inmates, they're normally political prisoners, all the inmates work 24/7 building something for one of these top elite guys. And it might be a plastic toy that you get in South Africa, made in China. That this is, and they get paid nothing. They're just, this is coming to South Africa. And people need to know that, because this is the model that's going to be brought into South Africa. So knowing that communism is so destructive, Winston, how are the ANC and their communist objectives still in control of South Africa? How can we let this happen?
Okay, to answer that, I want to try and make people understand how communism fits into the picture, and how it fits into not just South Africa but into the world as it is now. Now, earlier on, also I think a week or two ago, I put out a video to try and explain to people exactly what we are fighting, because now people are trying to vote. When it comes to voting season, people are voting for the DA or for the Freedom Front Plus or for all the parties. And they keep on thinking that it's going to make a change in their daily lives, where in fact it will never make a change in their daily lives. Reason being, if you look, let's see where it comes from. Hundreds of years ago, this country or the land was ruled by kings and queens and elite, duchess and princesses, and the elite ruled the land. They made the laws, and they were the ones that had all the say. The people that were living in these countries were ruled by these kings and queens.
Yeah.
Now, the people were working the land. They were the ones making the food. They were the ones making the clothes. They were the ones doing all the stuff, and they were getting nothing. They didn't have a say in anything. So eventually the people started getting tired of not having a say, always being, put down and never having money, but the royalties live like royalty. So eventually war broke out, and they were fighting, but eventually the people won. The people of the land won eventually. So thus, when the day the people won, they won their freedoms, thus democracy was born. That's where democracy comes from. But now you still got these kings and queens in the background. So put them there and just remember them. So now with the newfound freedom that the people have, the people of the land have, they decided, okay, well, we can't just walk around and do what we want and be who we want. We need to set up rules that we can live by, all live by peacefully and in harmony. So they made up a whole bunch of rules that everyone agreed upon. Thus, the Constitution was born. With this, they decided that, okay, so we have our freedom, we have the rules that we have to stick by, but these people that don't stick to the rules and don't understand how the rules work, we need to have some form of a system going where they can have, where they can explain their situation. Thus, the justice system was born. So now you have your three things. You have democracy, you have your constitution, and you have justice. With this justice, the people of the country nominated people of the community to uphold these three things, to make sure that these three things gets upheld.
Right.
Thus, government was born.
And
But now
government
remember
for the
those
people,
people
by
things.
the people.
The government was formed by the people, for the people, to uphold these three
Yeah.
important things. But now remember, the kings and queens and royalty is still there in the background. They did not like this. They did not love this at all. Thus, communist was born. That's where communist comes from. So, with these three things going on there, the communists sat and they thought, the kings and queens sat and they thought, how are they going to break these three? They can't do war because they keep on losing. So eventually they started getting clever, started working their way from the government, working their way into the government, till eventually where we are sitting today, where majority of the people in parliament are actually communists. Majority of the people sitting there are actually communists. So now they are in such a high position that they have infiltrated all the governments around the world, basically.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely, they started with these three things, working on these things to break down the walls. Because remember, these three things were set up by the people.
Yeah.
So you're not just going to take it away, because then the people are going to rebel against you. So slowly but surely, they started working on the people's minds to start making people think that, guess where we are now again? We are, government is here, democracy, constitution, and then, of course, the law. So with this, communists infiltrating the governments, where it was supposed to be, the governments were supposed to be working for us, chosen by us. The governments are supposed to be our servants. But they have worked their way, the communists have worked their way in such a manner, in such a sneaky little manner, that by the time where we are now, people think that governments are kings and queens. They make all the rules, they break all the rules, they do what they want, and we as people think that we don't have a say. So we are right back to square zero.
Right.
But we still have got these three things. We've got justice, we've got the constitution, and we've got democracy. But if you look at South Africa's case, there is no more justice. Look at Zuma's case, where the Constitutional Court ordered him to take the stand at the Zondo Commission, and the Constitutional Court is the highest court in the country. Zuma plainly refused. What did the courts do? Nothing. He's still a free man. He's still walking around doing what he wants. So there is no more justice. The Constitution, with this ANC amending the Constitution to do expropriation without compensation, that's a direct violation of the Constitution. But the ANC can do it. So there is no more Constitution. The only thing we as people have got left is democracy. And that's the only thing that the communist has not figured out how to bypass yet. And that's the only thing we have left to work on. Well, I'll explain now how we can utilize that.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say that this whole lockdown and not just in South Africa, but around the world, and the regulations that are brought in and the uncertainty when it comes to travel and tourism, because you're never sure whether they're going to suddenly close the border, it's not only destroyed the economies of very, very big countries, and it's absolutely decimated South Africa's economy. It's completely stuffed. It's absolutely cactus. But it's not only done that, but it's actually in our minds psychologically, as you say, put the government above all our rights. You know, and we're talking about democracy, the constitution, and of course the other issues related, well, the justice system, which is completely cactus in South Africa anyway. But this whole lockdown is psychologically kind of made people think that they are subservient now to the rulers. And I find something really interesting, and anyone who wants to check this out, it's easy, just go and Google it. It doesn't matter what the species of animal is. You take the bees, you've got a queen bee. You take a pack of dogs, you've got the leader dog in that pack. You take some lions, you know, there's always a dominant male lion. And you can do this literally across any species, anywhere in the world, and there's this common thread. And with man, he has that same thing where, you know, he wants to look up to someone. It's like the leader, your leader. Now, what's happening here is we've had this golden age where there's been democracy around the world, and the leader has been picked by the people for the people. Now what's happening is that, like in China, Xi Jinping is going to be the president for life. He's going to be there for life. That's already been decided, not by the people, but by the Chinese Communist Party. Now, that is the model. Those are the kings and queens of the future, and that is a model that is coming to the world when this new global government comes in. It'll be the ultra-wealthy guys, and everybody else will be at the bottom. And South Africa is very much part of that system. Now, that takes me back to how they're going to basically disenfranchise, or they're going to strip the assets of the largely wealthy white population, while the black wealthy, black privileged population assets are protected. And that is through ECW. Now, you touched on this just now. You said it doesn't just relate to property. It relates to anything and everything. It's your pension fund. It's your dog. It's your house. It's your car. It's your business. They can take any of that from you under ECW.
Yeah, and
do you want to expand on that?
They're already talking about nationalizing the banks.
Yeah.
So even your millions that you have in your bank will not be yours anymore. It's a whole system of breaking down completely. And believe me when I'm saying this now, it's not. They're not just focused on white people's business and the white businesses. They are also focused on the colored people, the Indian people, and black people themselves. There's a lot of black businessmen that are also suffering now because they are not part of the connected.
That's
They're
right.
not part of the in. And it's all about breaking down completely society, completely, and having society dependent on the government. Because once the whole society is dependent on the government makes or breaks the rules. If you look at North Korea now at the moment,
Yeah.
it's exactly the same situation.
Yeah.
But they first need to break everything down, and in such a way that they don't cause people to start an uprising or people to start fighting back. They have to do it so cleverly. And,
Boil the
and
frog
people are-
slowly.
They are, yes,
Boil the frog slowly. That's what it's all about. Now,
that's it.
when I look at what's happening in South Africa right now, you're really at a pivotal point, because ECW is not about black economic transformation. It's about a new political tactic, which is going to be communism, because then the South African Communist Party, you watch, they will become the new government once this is finalized. So having said that, how can we beat the system? I'm talking about in South Africa.
In South Africa, our main problem is to to try. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make people aware of the fact that it doesn't matter what government or what party in parliament you vote for. It does not matter. The parliament is all one organization. They are all working together. So the only way, let me say, people are going to ask me, how can I say they're all one organization and so forth?
Right.
Any of the parties in parliament has the fullest right to go to the World Court, the United Nations, BRICS, any of those organizations, and go and tell those people what the governing body is doing in this country. They have the fullest right to protect us as citizens. They have the fullest of right. That's actually the responsibility to protect the constitution of this country. None of them are doing that.
Yeah.
They're all fighting for positions and fighting for higher, who's better than who. Not one of them are actually focusing on what needs to be focused on, because they're all one organization. You heard about the DA story that also broke this last week?
Would they want to do a coalition with the ANC?
Yes. And now here's my thought, and that should have, somewhere along the line woken people up.
Yeah.
The DA is supposed to be the official opposition party to the ANC. The DA is supposed to be the ones keeping the ANC in check to make sure the ANC are protecting us. But now they want to be buddy-buddy with them.
Yeah.
It's a whole. They are all connected and they all know exactly what they're doing. So if you want to beat the system, it's very easy. Remember, the government was made by the people, for the people. So we, the people, are actually the ones in charge. The governments want to make you believe that they are the ones in charge. They want to say all these high words and, act like gods and kings. When meantime, back at the ranch, you, as a citizen of this country, are actually the boss. And I'm trying to explain to the people, you as a boss has the decision. So this year, the only thing we have left is democracy. We only have that one little thing left.
Yeah.
And that's our rights to vote. Because remember, any party that gets voted in has the say. If you are politically voted in, then you are in charge. And the communists can't do anything about that. Because remember, if they want to try and do something about it, take people's rights away completely, it will start off a massive war and they will lose big time. So the only thing we in South Africa have left is our democracy, and we need to go and vote. But we do not have to vote, or we should not vote for any party in parliament. They are all corrupted. They are all part of the big plan. If you want to make a change, you need to vote for the smaller parties that is not in parliament yet, that has got no ties to the parliament or ties to anyone in parliament. Because the minute you start voting for smaller parties, you take power away from the parliament. Remember, we need to get power away from parliament. That's where our problem is. It's not with the parties or so forth. We want to get votes away from the parliament and put the votes back into the hands of the people. Now, the smaller parties that's not been corrupted by politicians and been corrupted by parliament are the ones that will still be upholding the constitution and really telling the people that you are in charge. Like the party that I represent and the party that I'm with, Spectrum National Party, we work that way, that we form the party within the community. The community makes the party. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There. So we form the party, us as a community.
Yeah.
And we contest in the local elections. And if we win our municipality back, we, the people, govern our municipality again.
Yeah.
We need to put the power back into the people's hands. Not the DA, not Freedom Front Plus, none of those big organizations, because that's what they are, will do anything for us.
Well, they've had 26 years.
years.
They've had 26 years to do something, and they haven't done anything at all. Now, I just want to I just want to quickly say hi to, we got well over 300 people watching at the moment. I just want to say thank you for joining us tonight. We're talking about communism and its impact on South Africa, which you're feeling right now, and you can see that from the state of the economy. And I just want to just quickly talk about one of those political parties, and we actually had an expose on the DA last night, and they were clearly caught with their pants down, and we had a couple of DA people in the side chat who were panicking and trying to shut down the live stream, but it's still up there. Now there's one we've got rain pouring down outside. I don't know if it's coming through, if you can hear the sound of rain, but I love the rain tonight.
Heavy rain.
Okay.
Heavy rain.
But there's one particular political party in South Africa that I think it needs to get a leg up and get a lot of support, and that is the Cape Party, because the Cape Party in the Western Cape is the one that's looking to support the secession of the Western Cape from the rest of South Africa. And I really think when we talk about the way communism is going under this corrupt gangster ANC government, I really believe that the only answer is to have a separate state in South Africa where, you know, people who've got brains can rule. What are your thoughts on that?
Uncle Scott, I had a discussion on this also a while ago. Like the ULA as well. They want to break away from South Africa and, you know, be like the Cape, Northern Cape, Eastern Cape, Western Cape, and be a separate country, basically on its own. So
Right.
it wants to get away from South Africa. But now, here's my problem that I have with that. And I spoke to the one guy from the ULA as well. I said, here's my problem. What about the farmer in the Free State, with his farms there, with his house there? What must he now do? Pack up everything and go down there. What about the business people in the rest of South Africa? What about the people living outside these border areas?
Yeah.
They must now pack up. So that's now millions of people that have to sell their businesses, pack up all their stuff, and move down. That is such a huge, that will cause such a huge amount of misery, because that's what the people don't think about. Yes, let's break away from South Africa as cool, but what about the people living outside those borders, with lives outside those borders? If we want to do this, we need to do this as a country, and as simple as voting for the right people.
Well, I must say that I've spoken to the leader of Spectrum, and you know, he's a lovely guy, and I love the way that you've got a regional president who is black, white, and brown. So you've actually got all the communities represented at the top within each district and so on. And you're obviously got a fairly senior position within that organization, so obviously we're all political parties, so we're obviously going to be following that very closely. So that what you're saying is right, that is another option to support political parties like Spectrum. And that's just in one country.
There's a lot of, there are a lot of small parties. You don't just have to support Spectrum. The main thing is stop voting for Parliament and start voting for people.
Yeah.
Vote for all the parties. There's a lot. I mean, there's UIM. Anthony Hall also has his new party now, SA for All. There's a lot of small parties.
Yeah.
We need to get our votes out of Parliament.
And what's a great thing? What's a great thing is if you take votes away from the big established parties, they lose a lot of income. And that point was made just the other night on a live stream. Now, tell me, Winston, what is democracy?
Well, at this stage, people are starting to notice what democracy is. Let me explain it into this term. Your freedom to pray, your freedom to go to school, your freedom to live, your freedom to choose, your freedom to be a better person, to work, that is democracy. Democracy is your rights. That is democracy.
Right.
So we still have some rights left, but slowly but surely, the communists is taking away your rights little by little, breaking democracy little by little by little.
And this
Under
lockdown,
democracy,
yeah, and this lockdown has been a perfect opportunity for them to make us submissive. That's basically what
Yes.
they're doing. Now, how
yeah,
did
they
they?
have to make it submissive first. They have to break
Yeah.
the population down to believing everything they say,
Yeah,
and then work their way up.
and you'll find that the younger people are more submissive because they've grown up in that reality, whereas the older farts like me say, middle finger, bugger you, I know what democracy is about, you're taking away my rights. And that, I think that's where there's a huge break between the different generations, because the younger generation are kind of, they're just kind of sucking it up and accepting it. Now, how did they fool us, Winston? How did the communists fool us?
They didn't actually fool us. They fooled our grandparents, grandparents. This didn't start yesterday. The communists didn't start yesterday infiltrating and changing people's minds. They started many years ago. Our grandfathers, that's where they started already. To plant the seed, to letting the people know that we are authority, you need to listen. We are authority, you need to listen. If you look at the military as well, it's all about control. It's all about control. The government has to have some form of control, and on that control you grow and you grow and you grow. And now, talking about that, this is the main thing how they start fooling us, is they use the military in the olden days to go out. If you look at the old National Party, to go out and beat, anyone that didn't listen to them. And if you look at the ANC party, what did they do now during the lockdown as well? They beat people. They actually killed some people as well. The military and the police.
Yeah.
To show their form of authority. So majority of the people will start listening now because they don't want to get beaten down, because that's what the media shows them. The media shows where the cops are pushing people and hitting people, and it scares people. People are scared to say things. People are scared. They must listen and be obedient. Nowadays, the media are the biggest culprits in fooling people, in
Fake
making
news.
people believe. Yes, in making people believe that they have to listen whatever the government is saying. The media is basically to blame for today's mess that we are in, because true news gets blocked. Whatever the government says goes out there. And where in your right mind will you find that a government owns media? Then it can't be fair. It can't be true facts coming out, because if a government owns media, you're never going to get the truth. You're only going to get their truth, not the real truth.
You know what I find
And
extraordinary?
that is how we've been fooled.
Yeah.
Look at this whole pandemic. How people went out buying toilet paper, and people went out and put 4 or 5 masks on, and it just shows you 90% of our manipulation
Yeah.
comes from the media.
Yeah.
And the media is to blame for everything that actually goes wrong in this country. The media is the communists' main form of control. Control the media and you control the population.
Yeah, you know what I find extraordinary, Winston, is that South African television is funded by the government to keep it going. They're totally beholden to the government. And you had someone like Shladi Mutseneng as their CEO a few years back. I mean, he's the joke. And I've actually passed the Shladi Mutseneng crown on to Bekesele, because that's who he reminds me of. So but I actually call Bekesele Shladi Mutseneng now. Carry on.
It's a clown act. Like I said in the beginning, it's all an act.
Yeah.
This is all, and people need to start seeing through it, and people need to start realize that The power lies actually with you as a person. But we are being so manipulated and so transformed by these tools, by using force, showing the violence where the police comes and raids your place and pushes people around, and like Becky Tsele coming out and saying, we will lock you up and gaan in die kere and what. By using force and fear, and by using manipulation by the media, by showing images of what the government wants you to believe. The more you see something, the more you will believe it.
Yeah.
Like if I walk around without a mask, you know how many people are like, oh, it looks like they really want to murder you. How can you walk without a mask?
Yeah.
I don't have to wear them. I'm not feeling sick. I'm not on top of you. So if I'm walking through the parking lot without my mask, far from you, there's nothing wrong with that.
You know what I find?
Evidence showing what it is.
Yeah.
But the media will always try and block you.
You know what I find very disturbing? You know what I find very disturbing, Winston? And that is how big tech, and I'm talking about YouTube, Google, Twitter, Facebook, are clearly censoring people who do not fit in to the philosophy of the New World Order and political correctness, which is one of the tools that they use to bring in the New World Order. I had one of my YouTube channels taken down last week, Loving Life Live. It was taken down. It had no problem with it, but all of a sudden I got up in the morning and it said, your channel has been taken down. No reason given. It was just, I guess, didn't fit the philosophy of the big tech, the way they want things to go. And it's this censorship, the overt censorship by big tech of alternative points of view that is really, really disturbing. Because as you say, the mainstream media, they're fake news. They've got their own agenda, and they're pushing for a world government and a one world currency. That's where they're putting us towards.
Yeah, they want to try and see, like if you listen to radio, I listen a lot to radio ads because I'm driving a lot, and you must hear how many ads comes on and say, oh, it's the new normal, we must fit to the new normal. Oh, that's so cool, the new normal. The new normal is what they're advertising to make people think, oh, okay, well, it's okay, it's okay, it's something new, it's something nice, it's something new. When meantime, they're actually manipulating you into accepting whatever they are spewing down upon you.
Yeah.
People need to start waking up and start realizing that slowly but surely you are losing your rights as a human being. Slowly but surely you are losing who you are as a person. There will be no more religion. There will be no more culture. There will be no more deciding things for yourself. And that is where we're heading.
Well, actually, there will be there will be a religion. In China, let me tell you why. In China, Xi Jinping is their god.
Yeah.
The president of China is the god in China now for the majority of citizens. That's exactly how it works with communism. He's become the king. Now,
the king.
Just talking about a communist, okay, tell us, what is a communist?
Self-centered, egotistical maniac, hell-bent on destroying other people for his own benefits. There's a communist.
And lives are cheap, aren't they?
For a communist, how can I say this? For communists, it's all about having control. Having control is their main issue. They don't want to lose control for a second. They don't want other people to know what they're doing. And it's a very dangerous situation that you put yourself in if you yourself succumb to communism, because you lose your feeling, you lose your humanity, you lose everything. And majority of the time, a communist is driven by money and power. And that is a dangerous thing, because they don't feel nothing for any other human being as long as they get what they want.
Yeah. Well, look at Putin. Putin is now being given an extension of being president in Russia for as long as he wants. And he kind of mirrors what's going on in China with the hierarchy. The small circle of people who make all the money, and everybody else is a peasant, as you said. That is the communist system, and it's oligarchies as well. Like in South Africa, you clearly got the Zuma oligarchy. I see that Edward Zuma, who is a guy who is involved in illicit tobacco. I see he's now saying that he's going to run for president in 2024. This is Jacob Zuma's son. These are the oligarchies, and then you got the Ramaphosa Motsepe oligarchies. These are the guys who, under a communist system, will be running South Africa.
Yeah.
And people need to know that.
And we are allowing it because we're not acting on our basic human. We're not acting, and we're not using democracy to our benefit.
Yeah.
We're not using democracy right. It can all be avoided. If we go out this year with local elections and just, us as South Africans, just vote for small parties, no one in parliament, you are going to see how things change in this country, because a lot of those communist people and friends and families are going to lose their jobs, their nice positions. They're going to lose their houses, their cars, and they're not going to like that.
Yeah.
They're not going to like that at all. And eventually, when it gets so bad, they're going to start turning against each other and start fighting with each other. Because you promised me this position, you promised me a good job, you promised me this, but now you can't provide it. And they can't do anything about it because we still have democracy. So whoever gets voted in is in charge. That's democracy. Whoever sits on the throne, that's who's in charge.
Yeah.
And if we, the people, just vote for ourselves and put ourselves back to where we need to be, they will disappear. The ANC will be only but a thought. The DA will only be but a thought. That's the only way to beat communism. Remember, our forefathers fought for us to be free, died for us to be free. They died for democracy.
Yeah.
And they set up democracy in such a way that the communists cannot work a way around it. So we have got democracy left, and we need to focus and we need to work on that. But people don't understand. They think if they vote for the DA, their votes don't go to the ANC. When meantime, back at the ranch, it does. Doesn't matter if you vote Freedom Front Plus, doesn't matter if you're still voting for the communists, people in charge. Take their power away by voting for small parties.
Yeah.
That's all we need to do. Literally, that's all we need to do. We don't need to secede or do the Cape exit or do the ULA or break South Africa up and move people around and court cases and what. It's as simple as taking your vote, which has got a lot of power. Remember, your vote has got a lot of power. And just putting your vote into the right ballot.
Now, Winston, I have to ask you this simple question. Have we run out of time to actually achieve what you're talking about? Now, I'll tell you why. They're talking about 2030 is going to be when the transformation globally will have already happened. So they're talking about by 2025, the media are going to be saying, look, every state is in such a financial mess now. We've got to look at a new financial system that's more efficient, that's more inclusive. So the 3 billion people who don't have a bank account because they don't have an identity, we can give them an identity by putting a chip in their hand. And on that chip, we can identify every single person. We can track exactly where they are. But they will be able to use that little chip and go to the shop and buy something, because we will give them money if they behave themselves, if they do what we're telling them to do. If they don't do that, well, then they will get no money in their chip and they will starve. This is where we're moving to, and people need to understand this. So this is why I say, are we running out of time? Because they've clearly set their timeline. You just have to look at Agenda 2030. You just have to listen to Klaus Schwab from the World Economic Forum. They know, or they're deadline is 2030, when there's a world government, there's a single currency which is totally different to the currency we use at the moment, which is only digital. There's no cash, and they control you through the chip. So I come back to that question. This is why I think a very good option for people in the Western Cape is seceding, because I hear what you're saying about the farmers and people with businesses, but they're going to be cactus anyway under communism. You know, they're going to lose everything anyway. So if you had the Western Cape seceding, which is really a huge financial, has a huge amount of financial clout in South Africa. In fact, most of the taxes come from the Western Cape that the government uses, and that's one of their issues, because I think it's something like 300 billion rand a year go to Gauteng, and the Western Cape only gets 60 billion rand back to run the state or the province. So they're feeling like they've been cheated. So, you know, the timeline, that this is my concern. We're running out of time fast, aren't we?
Yeah, but like I'm doing, you know, you don't think big. You don't, because once you start thinking big, once you're like, oh yes, how are we gonna beat Parliament? How are we gonna do it? You start small. You start at the bottom, like where I am. Here in Reinkonyeni, I'm running for mayor. I'm gathering my
Fantastic.
my people.
Yeah.
I'm gathering my people here, and as a community, I told them, let's just take our community back. I'm not going to focus about South Africa and the world or whatever. Let's just start by taking back our community. Let's just take our municipality. This is a little local municipality. It's got 36 wards. So it's a small municipality.
That's a Amanzimtoti.
No, it's Margate. I'm down on the south coast.
Right, okay.
So let's take our community. Let's start there. And the minute you start taking back, let's say we do win this August.
Yeah.
Because I've already got a whole lot of members, and I've already got a whole lot of community members standing together.
Fantastic.
Us as a community standing together.
Fantastic.
And it's with Black Indian, because that's what makes a Spectrum so nice is I have a black deputy mayor, I have a white deputy mayor, an Indian, and a brown deputy mayor. That's what I have. So we're inclusive with all the people around here. We're taking everyone in the community and dragging them in. And we as a community are going to stand together, and we're going to win the elections, us as a community, and take back our community. Once we've done that, we will be an example, or we'll set an example to the rest of the country to follow. Just take back your community. Don't try and take the world. Take back your community. Start there.
Yeah.
Because once you start there, you will end up there.
Yeah.
Very, very big from here.
Well,
we're not out of time. We are definitely not out of time. We just need individuals to stand up and take the lead and show the people. That's what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
Trying to win this year, to show South Africa, you know what, you as a normal person can take back your community. And believe you me, it will spread like wildfire. Then come 2024 elections, we will take back our country.
Well, that would be a wonderful. Look, if your party can achieve that, it would be a wonderful outcome. And I tell you what, if you got rid of the ANC and all the corruption and all the shit that's going on in South Africa, I would be, buying a ticket to come over back to South Africa. But right now, I think if I put a foot into Oliver Tambo, I'd be arrested at the door. So I'm not going to take that chance.
But you speak your mind. You see, that's another thing that they're taking away. They're taking away your right away to speak.
I certainly do speak my mind. Yeah. By the way, I just want to give a shout out to Rudy, who's working on lovinglifetv.com. Now, this is the new platform we are transitioning to, because we're just so over the overt censorship and the growing censorship by big tech, and that includes YouTube, which we're on right now. In fact, the Loving Life channel, I have no doubt, is living on borrowed time, because sooner or later someone at YouTube is going to flick the switch, and this Loving Life YouTube channel would just disappear, like what happened to Loving Life Live. But that's why we have our own platform, lovinglifetv.com. So please do register there. Actually, I put up videos there that I cannot put up on YouTube, because if I put them on YouTube, I'd get a community strike like that. But putting them up there, freedom of speech is what we're talking about. Now, okay, so let's get back to our subject here, and what I said in the title for tonight's live stream is, I made a statement. I said communism has destroyed South Africa. What's your thoughts on that?
It's true. Look at all the SOEs. Not one SOE in South Africa is standing.
Yeah.
Not one SOE. And that's communism doing that. People are dying of hunger in the streets. Children are dying of hunger.
It's shocking.
But yet, the politicians can sit in their big houses. Now, last week also, I got the new stats also. So they've even given themselves raises as well. So while 11 million people in South Africa is losing their jobs, losing their homes, losing their families, losing their ability to live, the communists give themselves a pay raise.
Yeah.
So that, yes, communist has broken South Africa, but we still have spirit. Us South Africans, we are very resilient. You know, we don't break that easy. And if there's a problem, we find a way around it. So the communists in South Africa, I can tell you now, it's not going to last very long anymore, because people are waking up day after day after day. If I have to walk, just here a good example, if I have to go into the black areas, you have the outskirt areas, there's a big black community there.
Right.
And my deputy mayor also told me that they have been sitting there without water for the last 8 months. So my deputy mayor says if an ANC member has to go in there to canvass or to go and what's that political thing
Have
that
a rally.
do to go and have a rally, they're going to get stoned. The people, they don't want to see one ANC member in their area, because they are dying of hunger. They've got no more work. They've got no electricity. They've got no water.
Yeah.
And no basic services. None. So the people, that's where the communists are. That's how I say they're not going to last very long in South Africa, because the ANC have stolen so much money and are so busy and so consumed with their own internal fighting. Remember, it's the Zumas and it's the Ramaphosa's internal fighting going on within the ANC. They are forgetting to keep their people happy. That's keeping them in power. So the communists,
there's one.
not going to last very long.
Yeah, there's one question I can't get my head around, and that is how Jacob Zuma, who is facing arrest, who has, through contempt of court with what's happening to the Zondo Commission, he is still able to fly anywhere he wants. You know, he can fly to Russia, he can fly to Cuba, he can fly anywhere he likes, but you get the average Joe, who faces a far less important charge, he has his passport taken off him. He can't fly anywhere. Why does Jacob Zuma have special rights in South Africa?
Okay, yes, the true reason. Remember, okay, I know it's hard to believe, especially when talking about Zuma, but Zuma was an intelligence. Before he became, president and so forth, Zuma was for a very long time, he was in intelligence in South Africa. He has got such a huge amount of dirt on every top position, every top
okay.
in South Africa. He's got a lot of dirt. How do you think, talking about Obangat Beki, let's talk about him for a second. He went from being a police commissioner, found guilty of corruption, get fired, and then get rehired as police minister.
Yeah.
I don't think he does that, because they've got dirt on each other. They've all got their little dirty secrets. Their cupboards are full of skeletons.
Yeah.
So that's how the Zuma still get to be who he is. Let's take me and you, for instance. No, I'm not even talking about the constitutional court or anything. A normal court. If you have a court date or a court gives you an order and you don't do that, let's say the court says tomorrow 9 o'clock you must be at Glamini's house. If you're not there 2 minutes past 9, they lock you up. They put you in jail for the remainder of your court case. But Zuma can still travel and still go whatever, because if you look at the judges and stuff, well, I'm not saying they're corrupt, but if you look at the justice system, the justice system is controlled by the ANC. So the ANC does not want Zuma to be jailed, because Zuma said if he puts a foot in jail, he will spill the beans. So one of two things are going to happen. Is they are going to try and keep him out of jail, but if they can't do that anymore, they're either going to take him out. That's one of his two options. If they see they can't keep him out of jail, someone is going to take him out, because they don't want him to start talking. And they know he's going to start talking once he puts his foot in jail. So Zuma is basically untouchable for now.
Right. Now, I'm going to start wrapping up this live stream shortly, Winston. But before I do, I need to say that one of the things that, if I was in South Africa, would be very, very concerning for me, knowing where South Africa is headed at the moment, is money, having rands in the bank, because I think, like Zimbabwe, the rand is heading for a huge collapse, and I was actually a huge detractor of cryptocurrency until the last few weeks, where I've actually put my foot in the water and realized that it is a very, very transportable currency. I mean, you can you can send it anywhere in the world in minutes. You can send it to a friend in New York in literally 5 minutes from South Africa. And I'm not just talking 100 Rand, you can send 1 million Rand like that. So it's a way of actually getting your money out of the Rand system, because the cryptocurrencies are based on US dollars. And the other big area that I've been personally investing in for a long time, and I still believe in it totally, is physical gold and physical silver. But I think when you look at what the World Economic Forum is presenting to us, that they're pushing for the collapse of the fiat money system, which is a money system we use at the moment. And they're clearly saying this because they want to bring in a new global currency. You've got to actually consider putting something into an alternative asset, because otherwise, when the collapse comes, if you've only got rands, for example, you're going to lose everything. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, for now the system will be holding up. For now, it is, yes. If you do, I'm not so much worried about the collapse of the rand. That's my problem. Is you need to get your money out of South Africa anyways, because I think they're going to be nationalizing the banks before the collapse of the rand in anyways. So either way, your money in South Africa is not going to be safe. It's not going to be guaranteed, because the communist wants everything. So yeah, either way, it's a losing battle. Cryptocurrency, yes, you can go into it, but you need to let the right person help you with it, because there are a lot of scammers out there. There are a lot scamming people into the cryptocurrency and scamming people. If you have to think about how many people there are with this, what's this other thing also, the Bitcoin and so forth. There's a lot of scammers out there. So to find the right person, I think if you do, we do need to think about getting our money to a safer location, or investing and having an offshore investment. Let me say it that way. That will be your best way out, or having your financial advisor helping you with crypto and helping you in the right direction to put your money where it's not being tied down in South Africa.
Well, I have to say that I had Rule on my live stream a few nights ago, and he is actually someone who trains people with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and he's actually got these courses. And if anyone's interested, please just send me an email, which is host@lovinglifetv.com, host@lovinglifetv.com, and I will put you in touch with them, because what I did, just my journey with cryptocurrency, is I put my foot in the water. I got a wallet, I put a few dollars in, and I sort of played around with it, and it's very, very easy to use, and once you've had a bit of a play with it and you feel comfortable, the most important thing, as you say, is you never share your wallet with anybody else, because that's where the scammers come in. But if you don't do that, then you're pretty safe with the currency. All right, I want to get back in closing to our subject, and I just wanted to raise that issue about alternative way of storing your assets, because we have to look at this in today's world. Right, now we've talked about the smaller parties as being a way to win back our lives, and we've talked about how communism is just an incredibly invasive and a degenerate type of political system. What is your timeline? How long do you think South Africa's got before it basically becomes an official communist country?
2025.
20 years to 25 years?
No, 2025.
Oh, the year 2025. Wow.
Yes.
Wow. That's only 4
If
years
you
from
look
now.
how fast the economy is collapsing,
Yeah.
the pushing of the pushing of expropriation of without compensation,
Yeah.
and they are already talking about nationalizing banks. They are aggressively killing people financially, and aggressively starting the process of dictatorship, as per se,
Yeah.
and communism and complete new world order. I will give it, if there's not a civil war, because believe you me, people are in South Africa are very tired. They are angry, so it is already a very volatile situation, and with the amount of the pressure that the government is pushing on people, and the amount of jobs that they are pushing away from people, and the amount of money that they are taking away from people, it's not going to be long. It's either 2025 they're going to turn into a full communist state, or there will be a civil war in this country.
Yeah.
And believe you me, it's not what everyone thinks, white on black or whatever. That's also a bullshit story. Sorry, excuse my language. It's also a bull story. It's going to be the people of the country against the government. And the army and the police, they're going to be in the middle, and they're going to need to choose where they're going to stand and who they're going to support. That's what's going to happen before 2025 in this country, if we do not get them voted out,
Right.
if we do not use democracy.
What do you think will be the trigger for a civil war in South Africa? Do you think it'll be people starving?
There are already people starving now.
Yeah, but I mean,
It's-
when
it's-
it gets to a breaking point.
the breaking point is going to be between, actually, let me say it this way, it's going to be between ANC and ANC. They're going to break first.
Yeah.
Because like I said earlier, us people, South Africans, we are very resilient, and we make plans. We are feeding our people, we are getting water to our people, and basic services where the government is lacking. We are already, the people of the country are already picking up that. But the pressure that's on government per se, with all the secrets and stuff going on there, and now with a split, this Jacob Zuma and Julius Malema is a very, very bad thing happening.
Yeah.
Them partnering up is a very bad thing, because that's one faction.
Well, Ace
Of the
Magashula's
ANC.
in that faction.
Yes, and now you have the Ramaphosa faction as well. The ANC is going to fight with ANC. That's where it's coming from. And now the unions are also backing out of the ANC as well. So there's a lot of internal fighting going on. There's a lot of pressure on the ANC side.
Yeah.
So they're going to start fighting with each other before 2025. Because it's going to get to a breaking point. It's going to. The ANC is a bomb waiting to explode. And it's going to be ANC fighting ANC.
Yeah.
That's where the fight will start.
Well, politics makes for strange bedfellows. The DA has said, Democratic Alliance has said quite openly now that they will form a coalition with Ramaphosa's portion of the ANC, and it's quite clear that Ace Magashula is fighting to become president of South Africa, even though he's facing an arrest. But he is clearly in the camp of the economic freedom fighters and Julius Malema. So, as you say, you've got this fracture, and you've got the economic freedom fighters that will probably form a coalition with the ANC party under Ace Magashula, or maybe Jacob Zuma will come back. Who knows? Stranger things happen. And then the DA will form a coalition with Ramaphosa's part of the ANC. So, we live in quite terrifying times, because, as you say, when it breaks down like that, you have a civil war.
Yeah, but you see, that's where one positive thing comes out of communism. This is the only positive thing that comes out of communism. They all want to be chiefs and no Indians. So there are too many people that wants to be in charge, and there's too little space.
Yeah, it's not a big country like China.
Nope. Nope, there's not that much money here.
Yeah.
No, not everyone can be chiefs, and they all want to sit on the throne, but there are too many.
Yeah.
There are too many communists trying to be on top. So somewhere
it's going to go. Now, Winston, I'm going to wrap up this live stream. We're putting a cap of 90 minutes on our live streams now, because I tend to get carried away and talk for hours, and people are saying, hey, we need to get some sleep. So, look, would you like to wrap up the live stream by putting a message out there to people? Just talk about whatever you like to talk about. We've got about close to 300 people watching right now.
First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone that are watching, and I want everyone to go to bed tonight and sleep and think on this that I'm going to tell you now. Would you want to have a party coming to you and saying, we will do this or we will do that for you? Or do you want someone to come and say, let us do this, let us do that? Because if you think about it now, everyone in Parliament are using this little term. This one term makes a big difference. We talk about people, and back in the days talk about the governing party. And listen what they are saying in Parliament every day now, the ruling party. There's a big difference between governing and ruling.
Right.
Go out here, vote, but vote right.
Right. Now, I just want to close by saying to everybody, look, Winston is part of the Loving Life family. He's our resident musician. In fact, the theme song that you hear before every live stream was written and sung by Winston. He's a fantastic fellow. I can totally endorse him. And I can tell you now that the Loving Life channel will put its weight behind Spectrum, your political party, because we like your leader. I've spoken to your leader on a live stream. I think he's doing the right thing. And for people who live in the Margate area, please make contact with Winston, because he's going to need a lot of help out there leading up to August. Winston, how can people contact you? What's the easiest way? Through your Facebook page or through email? What's the best way?
The best way is basically on Facebook. You can look up SNP Rain Konyeni, or alternatively look for me on Facebook, Winston Coetzee, and just send me a message. That'll be the easiest way to get hold of me. Yeah.
Okay. Now it's no longer Winston Smile.
No. Winston Smile is taking a back seat for now.
Okay.
The music is completely, then it's open, then it's closed, then it's open, then it's and I can't. I have a job now. It's not a very good job, but at least I can buy food, and it's So it's a job that I have for now.
That's fantastic.
So I can't get back to the music and leave the job that I have now, because in the music closed down again, then I sit with no job.
Yeah.
So rather keep the job that I have now until, you know, we can be gone with this ANC COVID thing.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep your voice going, because we'll have you on live streams here from time to time, singing to the Loving Life family, and that'd be fantastic, because you got an incredible voice. All right, guys. Look, I just want to thank our guest Winston Coetzee for joining us tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's a very difficult subject when you talk about your country falling to communism, but that's what the ANC have in the plans. Please remember to subscribe to be kept informed, and ring the bell to get the updates. And also thank you so much to the moderators for looking after the side chat. I saw we had a couple of trolls here, but well done, guys. You looked after them. And everybody who's joined us tonight, thank you for joining us. We have live streams most nights at 8 p.m. Johannesburg time, and they cover a wide range of subjects. And what I'd invite you to do if you're new to Loving Life is to go to the home page and have a look below the most recent videos. Have a look at the playlist, and you'll see there's one called Live Streams. And if you click on View All, you'll see there are hundreds of live streams on there, and they cover a wide range of subjects. You know, we covered just about everything and anything. And we did have a live stream with the leader of Spectrum about 2 or 3 months ago, and he's a lovely man. All right, I'm going to close it there. Thanks once again, Winston.
Thank you very much, Uncle Scott. Thank you, moderators. Thank you, Loving Life family.
All right, guys, I'll leave the side chat open for a few minutes so you guys can talk. Take